Hello, hello, everyone. It is Wednesday. Welcome back to our Airdomo series. And today I'm excited because we're going to talk about smart buyers deciding where before they decide what, right? And everybody's like, wait, what did she say? Hannah, what did I say? I'm Stephanie Gillison.
Well,
Here's my partner, Hannah Maverick. What did I say just now?
usually people fall in love with a listing, a photo, a price, and then only later they start asking questions about the country, the rules, and the market, or actually the long-term implications. So smart buyers do the actual opposite, and a lot of our buyers at Airdomo do the same, which they decide where first, and only then they decide what to buy. So I'm super excited about this one. It really completely reframes the buying process. Most buyers think, choosing the property is that decision, when in reality, the biggest decision you can make when it comes to a purchase of a second home somewhere else is when you choose of the country. So today we're going to unpack how that strategy is done and why doing it in the wrong order often leads to regret and risks and missed opportunity. So, Stephanie, why do most buyers instinctively start with the property as opposed to the location?
Well, I tell you what, because properties are tangible and emotional, right? A listing is easy to react to. Photos, price, the view, the finishes. Countries feel abstract, complex, intimidating. Buyers skip that step, right? So when you emotionally commit to a property, you start justifying the country, even if it's a poor fit for yourself, right? So that's how buyers end up owning beautiful homes in places that don't get aligned with what their goals are, that what their lifestyle is, or what their risk tolerance becomes. And so that's when it becomes an issue. And that's why most buyers start in the wrong place.
Yeah, and by then the decision already kind of feels locked in. But let's flip that narrative. Why does the country matter more than the property itself?
Well, because the country is going to determine everything that's going to come after, right? So, where you buy is going to determine your legal ownership rules, foreign buyer rights, tax exposure, rental regulations, market liquidity, lifestyle reality, exit options, right? And so, a great property in the wrong area or the wrong country is going to be a bad investment for you because if those aren't aligned, then something's going to go wrong when it comes time to do that exit, so to speak, right? A good property in the right country can be adjusted, it can be improved, it can be repurposed. But most importantly, it can also work for somebody else as well too.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. The country kind of sets the rules of the game, right? So how do smart buyers begin deciding where to buy?
Well, they start by defining the role of the country, that what is that country going to play in their life, right? Is this the lifestyle base or an investment market, right? Will I spend time in this country or mostly rent this property out? Is residency offered or is long term access important? Is this a short term play or is this a long term hold? Maybe this is something that you're going to want to pass down, to generations, right? Until you answer those questions, you can't really evaluate a country properly. Make sense?
Exactly. And yes, and this step alone filters out so many mismatches, and we see that every single day at Airdomo and with our customers. Now, what should buyers evaluate at the country level before they even start looking at properties?
Buyers must assess the political economic stability, right? Legal transparency, foreign ownership rights, currency strength and volatility, rental and resale demand, right? You always have to prepare an exit strategy. I don't care if you buy a property or plan on buying a property to keep forever. Always plan on that rental and resale demand as well and know what it is just in case. You've got to have that insurance policy there. That exit strategy as a foreigner is so important. Wealthy buyers aren't asking, is this country perfect though? Okay. They're asking, is this a country I can adapt within if things change? That's what's important.
Makes sense. And that flexibility piece of it is important right now. We see it very often, and especially in long-term goals. So once the country is chosen, how does the property decision change?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it gets much cleaner, much calmer, much clearer, and much easier because we're not shopping all over the globe. We are focused, right? You're no longer asking, do I like this property, right? You're asking, does this property fit my strategy in this country? Does it match my local demand? Does it comply with the regulations that I'm looking for? And does it support my exit plan? The property becomes a tool, not the emotional driver. So remember that the property becomes the tool and not your emotional driver.
That shift removes so much pressure off of the person as well. But what happens when buyers get this order wrong?
Well, that's we have this happen all the time. And again, the reason why Airdomo was founded because buyers then often face unexpected tax exposures that they didn't even know existed, right? They didn't even think about the rental restrictions, right? They didn't anticipate it. They bought a property to rent it out and then find out after they own it that they can't rent it at all, right? Liquidity issues. When you're selling, they thought, oh, well, this is going to gain appreciation and they're going to make money. Well, then they realized, no, they bought in a property that is actually declining in an area. And so there is no more liquidity. Residency benefits that they can't access. Look, do you know how often we're reached out to because people have put deposits down on a property where they don't even have the right to own in the country, right? There's a process. It's not that you can't ever own, it's just a process that we've got to get you through to verify and make sure, right? And then also lifestyle mismatches. So many people, especially on the new construction, they truly believe that what they see in those renderings, oh, it looks phenomenal, right? That hillside down to the beach is no big deal. I can walk down there. But look, by the time the property is built, you've got bad knees and your wheelchair is just that incline is just a little too steep and you find yourself right there in the ocean. I mean, Hannah, we don't want to see those things, do we?
I know. I mean, honestly, even for me, that is something I look at just going on vacations and spending time somewhere. I have bad knees, even though I'm young. I'm looking at
And
those
you're
stairs like
young.
that's not happening.
Well, and I do. There was a project that I was working on a few years back, and it was a 5-story condo building, and it was to be built, right? And it was gorgeous. I mean, the renderings are gorgeous. And one day, after I don't know, a few months even, this is me who's used to dealing with these properties. I go, wait a minute, where's the elevator? And the developer says, there isn't one. I go, who the heck is walking up 5 flights of steps? But actually, it wasn't even 5 flights of steps. There were 5 floors in this bill, or five floors. But in order to get to the first floor, you had 2 flights of steps. So it was really 7 flights up to that top unit. Who the heck's carrying groceries and booze and everything else up there? Not me, not my suitcase, not all that. My husband would kill me, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely not doing that. So when it comes to these lifestyle mismatches, honestly, this is such an important part that people forget to look at. And I know, Stephanie, you've sat in so many client calls where we assess these things literally with questions that they don't even expect just to get answers like these because that's the way that we're going to get that perfect match. So that's what makes this one of the most expensive mistakes in global real estate, just missing any of these things that you just named, actually. So, okay, when we talk about how wealthy buyers make the decision, how do experienced buyers actually make the where decision, which is
Well,
important?
you've got to go back to that short list approach, okay? You've got to compare 2 or 3 countries side by side, all right? Pick the two side by side. And then look at the lifestyle fit, look at the legal framework, look at the market maturity, okay? Look at your risk profile for both and look at the long-term optionality. Once one country clearly fits your goals, then the property search is going to become extremely straightforward. Look, Wealthy people don't chase deals, they chase environments. Okay. I'm going to say that again because it's so powerful. Wealthy people don't chase deals, they chase environments. Make sense?
That absolutely makes sense. And we've seen that time and time again. Now, for buyers that are listening today, how can they start applying this approach right away?
Well, here's one of the things I want them to do is one, pause the property search. Stop getting out there dreaming about drooling over how the pool's amazing and the bar and the this and the that, right? Instead, I want you to ask yourself, which countries fit your life and goals right now? Okay? Think about it. How far do you want to travel to get there each and every time you go, right? And then which gives you flexibility later, right? If life changes, if something with your body changes, what gives you flexibility later, okay? And then what aligns with your risk tolerance? What are you willing to go through if things change in that country, okay? Once that's clear, every property decision becomes so much easier, faster, and you're going to be way more confident about it. That's exactly how we help buyers at Airdomo process that. We start with strategy, not listings. Trust me, I would love to say, this is so beautiful. Don't you want to buy it? But that is not a smart decision. And it's not a way for us to help you in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly. And Stephanie, before we close out, don't you think this is the perfect opportunity to invite people to do Domo Match?
Absolutely. One of the things that we talk about, how do we know exactly? How can we start walking through some of these questions? Well, if you go to airdomo.com, right there on our main page in the middle is what's called Domo Match. We have created a 24, I believe, questionnaire for you to step through the process. It's not only going to tell you what places you should consider in your home search, but it's also going to tell you what types of homes or condos and what you're best suited for. And so Domo Match is one of those matchmaking opportunity tools for you to be able to decide what area in this globe best suits you. So I'm excited for Domo Match. We just launched it. We haven't even really gone public with it. So this is, I think, our first public announcement about it, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and I'm very excited for people to go through it. We've spent so much time on it. We've tested it a million times just to understand how we get to that perfect match with all of the questions that we have. So for everyone watching, definitely go and check it out. Stephanie, thank you. This conversation always is such a reset for how people think about buying abroad, which is exactly what we want. And yeah, I hope everyone tries Domo Match. I hope you like it. Please let us know. We're looking for your feedback because that's the best way for us to make sure that it's perfect. And of course, explore all the vetted global opportunities on airdomo.com, and you can reach out and for guidance and tailored to your goals. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.